this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation following. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials. Grant them the wisdom to know and the courage to do what is right for all citizens. Amen.
Amen. Roll call, please.
Allen.
Here.
Green.
Here.
LaFleur.
Here.
Mistrovich.
Here.
Rindell.
Here.
Ricks.
Here.
Warren.
Here.
Good to see everybody here tonight. Approval of minutes for the City Council meeting of June 3rd would be in order.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
It's been made and supported. Is there any discussion on those minutes? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We have time now for audience comments on any non-agenda items. If anybody would like to address the City Council, we ask that you come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. We will move on. Adoption of the agenda, Mr. City Manager, is there any changes?
No changes.
City Council, any changes? Motion to accept the agenda as presented would be in order.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Most have been made and double supported here.
Jinx.
One more vote, it passes. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Most been made and supported. There's no discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We move on to our public hearing this evening. The first one being the fiscal year 2019-2020 city budget. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to hold a public hearing to receive public comment on the proposed fiscal year 2019-2020 budget. The total city budget is $11.08 million, including a $4.33 million general fund balance. The council held 3 budget workshops in April and May to review the department directors and city managers' proposed budget, and the outcome of that is what's in your packet tonight, the changes that were made based on those meetings. The budget calls for a tax levy of 16.2187 mils for general operating purposes, and this includes a set-aside of roughly 1.8 mils from the TIFA and general funds for the street improvement fund. The budget also calls for a 1% administration fee on all tax collections and a flat fee of $207.32 for garbage.
Thank you. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make the motion to open the public hearing for the proposed fiscal year 2019-20 budget at 7:03. Support.
It's been made and supported. The hearing is now open. Would anybody like to address council on this? Well, then I'll take a motion to close.
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2019-2020 budget at 7:03 and 30 seconds. Support.
Most been made and supported. Is there any discussion? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. We have a second public hearing for mutual detachment and annexation forbearance agreement. Is Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to hold a public hearing to receive public comment on the proposed mutual detachment and annexation forbearance agreement. The Public Act 7 of 1967 requires that the public bodies, Lenox and Richmond, hold public hearings prior to the adoption of the agreement. The agreement before you tonight is an extension of the agreement signed in 1998 and calls for essentially the same terms, 3.6 mils paid by the city to Lenox Township for a period of 20 years.
Thank you. Is there a motion to open a public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open public hearing to propose mutual detachment and annexation forbearance agreement at 7:04.
Second.
It's been made and seconded. Public hearing is now open. Any comments? Motion to close be in order.
I make a motion to close the public hearing on the proposed mutual detachment and annexation forbearance agreement at 7:04 p.m.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Public hearing is now closed. And we have 7 items for consideration this evening. The first one being consideration of adopting resolution number 2019-9, adoption of fiscal year 2019 to 20 city budget. Mr. City Manager.
Council is scheduled to adopt Resolution 2019-9, which will formally adopt the 2019-20 budget. As mentioned during the public hearing, the total city budget's just a shade over $11 million and includes $4.33 million general fund. Our tax collection is a 1% admin fee, and we also have a flat fee of $207.32 annually for trash. Just like to thank the council, department directors, and in particular our city treasurer for making this process go so smoothly again this year.
Very good. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to adopt Resolution 2019-9, which adopts the City of Richmond fiscal year 2019-2020 budget, appropriates the necessary sums of each fund of the city, adopts the 2019 through 2025 capital outlay program, directs the levy of taxes and fees for municipal purposes, and directs the preparation of all the tax roll and collection of taxes.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion? There's been a lot of discussion. Council has met at least 3 times on just this, and with the help of our administration and all of your people, of course our treasurer also, it was pretty easy this year to take a look at what we had, and you made it easy, I think is what I want to say. You gave us all the reasons why we had to do what we had to do in certain categories and certain line items, and you guys did an excellent job again, as you have. This is a very strong point for our administration, I believe, is creating the budget for us to study and approve. So hats off to you again.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Audience comments on this item? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Item number 2 is consideration of approving the mayor's proclamation Pay It Forward Day. Mr. City Manager?
Council is scheduled to consider approving the mayor's proclamation recognizing Pay It Forward Day. At the May 6th council meeting, Kathy Makowski spoke during audience participation regarding her efforts to promote Pay It Forward Day in honor of her son, Matt. Pay It Forward Day was inspired by the movie of the same name and involves people performing random acts of kindness for others without expecting anything in return. April 28th of each year is Pay It Forward Day, and she's hoping that we recognize this in Richmond through the proclamation before you tonight. Also, she's looking to have a banner across the street and then a banner in the Grand Parade of the Good Old Days Festival. There'd be 2 separate banners. The one in the festival would obviously be smaller than the one that goes across the street. She had also mentioned having the city pay for the banner across the street. My recommendation as the city manager is that we not pay for that. I have talked to her about, there's several very good nonprofits and civic organizations in town, and that I would help her kind of put some information together that she could approach them about having those organizations sponsor that banner.
Very good. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the mayor's proclamation recognizing April 28th as Pay It Forward Day and to authorize the Across the Road banner for the last 2 weeks of April.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Discussion? It was brought up about the city paying for those banners. I would tend to agree with city manager. Where do you I mean, it's a great cause. There's no doubt about that. But
Yep.
that's not something that you
Right.
should use municipal funds for, I don't believe. If it was a municipal event, like we have had, and usually when we have multiple events, then we get involved to promote the community. But
Yeah, and it could get expensive for us with everyone else trying to want
yeah.
banners paid for.
Yeah. And as you said, there are plenty of organizations in town, I'm sure, that would support this. Okay. Anything else?
I just have a question for clarification. So we'd have to do this each
each year?
She would like,
the
yes,
original
correct.
request?
That's her intent. It was kind of, timing-wise, when she came, it was just a little bit past
Right.
April this year, so, it's kind of, we're approving it well in advance for next year, but after that, yes, she would be coming every year to
Okay.
have it approved. And then she has some cards, I think she handed them out the night of that meeting, that kind of has her son's name on them, and pay it forward, encouraging people to do the random acts of kindness. She was hoping to be able to put some of those cards at like the community center and the library. On the
Anybody
counter
have an
there.
issue with that?
Not at all.
No, that's fine with us. Okay, anything else on this? Audience comments? Back to the table? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Against? Motion does pass. Item number 3, consideration of approving TIFA tax-based sharing agreement. Mr. City Manager.
Council is scheduled to consider approving and entering into the tax-based sharing agreement with the City of Richmond Tax Increment Finance Authority. Under agreement utilized or entered into by both the TIFA and City of Richmond, a portion of the captured assessed value can be shared by TIFA with the city. This year, again, we've kind of stuck with the trend of the last few years of reducing that reliance on TIFA, and so keeping more of those funds in the TIFA budget for their projects. This year, we dropped from 18% to 15%, and roughly from 98,000 of revenues kept in the general fund to 84,000.
Very good, thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the captured assessed value sharing agreement between the City of Richmond, TIFA, and the City of Richmond for the fiscal year 2019-20, and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on this item? As the city manager has stated, this is something we've done for a number of years, and TIFA is in agreement. We have some TIFA board members here tonight on the city council. So this seems to be a real good thing for the city. We still capture the taxes that we otherwise wouldn't capture. We go back into the general.
Win-win.
Win-win. Any audience comments? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Item number 4 is consideration of adopting the 2019-2020 city fee schedule. Mr. City Manager.
Council is scheduled to consider the 2019-2020 city fee schedule. The changes in the upcoming fee schedule that were discussed during the budget workshops, and we did make 2 changes based on the input of council to those. But kind of briefly, the changes we're making, there was one in the police department on the fingerprinting to kind of keep us in line with other departments. The page 12, which was sanitary sewer changes, were really just text changes to make it more clear. The water department had some text changes on page 13 and on page 14. There is an increase to the use fee on water, and also change to the turn on or turn off fee, however you want to propose it or term it, for work scheduled during the weekends. Again, based on the council input, emergency is not a fee.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the City of Richmond fiscal year 1920 fee schedule as presented by the city manager.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Discussion? Which again, we had quite a bit during budget sessions on this item. So when we go to the water turn-off fee, due to non-payment, $40. So they're not paying their bill, we're gonna add another $40 to turn it off. And then, can that go against the property? Is that what happens?
Yes,
if they
correct.
don't?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Any audience comments, questions? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Item number 5 is consideration of the purchase of playground equipment. Mr. City Manager.
Council is scheduled to consider the purchase of an age-appropriate play structure from Miracle Midwest. At the May 20th budget workshop, Council reviewed information provided by administration and directed administration to work with Miracle on putting together a quote. This is for a play structure that's appropriate for ages 2 to 12. Would be placed over by the fire truck in BB Park, kind of between the fire truck and the rocket slide there. And along with, by approving this now, tonight, we get the special pricing from the sale flyer, which also includes the selection of 3 of the free kind of added elements based on how much we're spending. So anything over 30,000, we got 3 of them. The Recreation Director is recommending the balance board, Chunky Trekker, and Jack's Pack 1, which is in your packet. Reviewing those items, I think partly just she wanted to hear me say them and read them off tonight, but she thought those would be the most well utilized in the park by that age group. We'll kind of, as we get going, finalize the actual locations of those. We did meet with the installer for the company. He came out, met with Margot and Jim and I, and kind of looked at our location, agreed with it based on some of the elevations around there with like the Tiger Fruit and Tyke Track, things like that. So felt it would all work well. And so it's before you tonight for your consideration. It would be a waiver of the purchasing ordinance due to being able to take advantage of the sale flyer prices.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to waive the purchasing ordinance requirements under Section 64-53D and authorize the city manager to sign the quotation with Miracle Midwest in the amount of $47,489 with the dark blue and light blue colors.
Support.
Motion been made in support. You're not going to add the other, whatever those personal things that Marco had picked out.
Just one more time. Yeah, come on.
Discussion? Comments?
Oh, I would like to say something, Mr. Mayor. Just as a former rec board member, this has been like a dream to update that area of the park. So it is just fantastic to see it actually come to fruition, and surprisingly at an affordable price. So I'm very thankful that there was a sale, that we were able to save the city even more money.
Absolutely. That's we've looked at that for years, and the price was excellent. And the company, John happened to run into the company around home for you?
A park up in Gratiot County near Elma.
Elma.
Utilized this company for a play structure. I think they chose one very similar to this, and then also a larger one too. But it was looked very good. They come with a sign that also gives parents an idea of what age group should be on that. And so, and I know, as we know, our public service director is working on a park in Armada. He's working with the same company, so well recommended.
Very good, very good. Margaret, did you have anything that you wanted to add? Sure, Margot.
No, I don't. I just appreciate, I appreciate it just immensely. I think it's going to really improve the park, and once we get everything figured out as far as the foot plan and everything like that, it's going to be good. So thank you guys very much.
Seems like it's been one of the top, over all the years, it seems like it's been one of the top things when we've had the master park plan updated. One of the top things has been the age appropriate at this age level to have some type of a playscape for them.
Absolutely.
Just was always so expensive, and we just couldn't come across with it. But she came up with this one day and showed it to me at a park meeting, and it's like, we can't afford not to buy that. You know, it's what we've always been looking for at about half the price is what it seemed like compared to the numbers we've been given over the years.
Right.
So it was a great find, and sounds like it's a great company. And that's finally, as Jamie said, it's been a long time coming, and I think it's really going to add to BB Park.
Absolutely.
Great.
I think so too. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Any other comments? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying, oh, I'm sorry, it's roll call.
Green,
Yes.
LaFour,
Yes.
Mistravich,
Yes.
Rindell,
Yes.
Ricks.
Yes,
Warren,
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
motion does pass. Okay, item number 6 is consideration of food truck request. Mr. City Manager?
City Council is scheduled to consider a request from Maria Villanueva and Fortino Trejo to allow them to sell food from their food truck in the city of Richmond on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. They live in Richmond and have recently purchased a food truck and would like to be allowed to sell within the city. Kind of stepping back and looking at how we've dealt with temporary businesses in the past. Sometimes they've gone to Planning Commission. Sometimes we've directed them to find a private spot and go through the Planning Commission process. But I think we've done enough of these over the past years, and not necessarily food trucks, but whether it's a tent or a trailer or a food trailer. Administration is kind of concerned food trucks are becoming more popular, that our ordinance doesn't deal with it, and want more kind of firm direction from council on how to handle these requests. So there's kind of, as I've put in my background brief, a number of ways and directions council could go. For example, if you wanted to allow them in a municipal parking lot, whether it's the parking lot on the north end or behind City Hall or the one off of Forest, it could be handled here at the council level. If you wanted to direct the applicant to secure a location in a private parking lot, that would probably be more in line with going through the Planning Commission as part of a site plan approval, which is how we've done a couple of them in the past. Again, there's also the consideration that our ordinance doesn't handle these very well, and that we may want to look at our ordinance in general, in which case council could then table it to a future meeting. We do have the council roundtable coming up July 22nd. So I leave that more to council. Like I said, we've kind of handled it on a case-by-case basis in the past as they've come in, and administration wanted to get a little more recommendation from council, and there are kind of a variety of motions in your packet depending on the comfort level of council. And I do believe the applicant is here tonight.
Okay. Would you like to speak to council before a motion?
Hello, my name is Maria Villanueva. I've been living here in Richmond for the past 9-10 years. And we bought a food truck. Sometimes I cater, I volunteer my time and my food to do for the schools, for church events, for special parties around, to other people. And our main goal is to, we have a son with autism, and we want to help him work. Well, I want to teach him how to work. And what a better way for him to be with me? He's attending a program right now where they are teaching him skills on how to maintenance. It's mainly maintenance. And I approve of that, but I would like for my son to work with me where I can teach him, if I have the time, to deal with money, to deal with the public, to deal with that. And that's what I like to do. I love to cook, and I think we have, we can do that. And we would like the opportunity overall to serve Richmond. We are looking for 3 times a week, maybe special occasions as well. But we just think overall we're gonna, it's gonna help the town as well, the city. I understand this is the first time that this would be, given or so, but we are open to any suggestions or anything that you can give us or you can guide us. And we are very appreciated to have given this opportunity to come up to you and present our plan.
Are there any questions?
Do you sell elsewhere now with this food truck, or is this something totally time here?
This is our first time. We are in process with the health department. We are in process with certifications that we need as well. But we need an address. We need a space right now for the health department to finish our application as of now. We have not sold. We don't have a location either because we needed to go through this first, and that is as to where we are now.
What's your timeline? When's your truck ready to go?
Our truck is ready whenever we have a date, and health department, everything's submitted. So we just. It's upon them 4 to 6 weeks, and but the application is in, but it can be completed because we don't have a date or so for this.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else right now?
Yeah, I just have kind of a follow-up to your question, and that was one of my questions, if it was ready. I do like the idea of having this discussed at the quarterly workshop, but my suggestion would be then, in addition to that, pick one of these other motions as well. Because if we're meeting on the 22nd, sounds like we're ready to go here, except for the health department. So in the meantime, that gives Maria some time to utilize the truck, and then gives us time to have it on the agenda. And then I have a question. When you say 3 times a week, is that going to be seasonal, or, say we get a warm winter day, are you going to try to do it?
I can't respond
Year-round?
to it. As of now, we're going to do it seasonal.
Okay.
But, it all depends. But as of now, we're doing seasonal, and that's what we have in our schedule as well.
Yeah, because I just don't want to discourage this and kind of get it going, but I think we do need to come up with a policy, because as the city manager indicated, this is the first one that we've had that's more, I'll call, more permanent as opposed to temporary. We've had some temporary ones for special events, but this is more of a permanent type situation. So I want to make sure that we done before, discuss it, and make sure that we're doing what's best for the citizen and the existing business owners. So I like Maria's note here where she is concerned about the other business owners that potentially have minimal impact by having this there. So, and that's kind of why I'm leaning more for a private thing, at least to start with, a private lot, as opposed to a municipal lot for something that's going to be there more permanent, until we come up with a policy that we can share with other potential food truck vendors or other types of businesses that want to use municipal parking lots as a more permanent basis.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question for Councilor Mastrovich.
Well,
So-
if we're going to have discussion,
Okay.
then we need to have a motion.
Okay.
I'm asking if there's any more, questions for the presenter.
Okay.
Then we will go into a motion and have all the discussion.
I have a question for the presenter then. Would you accept that we would do it on a temporary basis? Like we try this just for the
definitely.
summer and then it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. That would be a good start for us as well. And we would appreciate that, not a problem. We also wanted you to know what we're capable of and what we are willing to do as well. We are, I've done this about 13 years ago. We did it in Richmond. My sister owned a small Mexican restaurant, and we did that food truck. But I had to let it go due to my son, and it was worth it. We did let it go, and it was worth it because my son is now very, he's on his own, very pretty much, and that. So now it's that we decided to go for this again because he's 19, and this is one of the main things that we want to do. And if you give us the opportunity for doing this, it's all up to us to see what we show you, what we're capable of, and what we have to offer.
Anything else? Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We might call you back up, but. Okay. Is there a motion for further discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the request from Rolling Cactus LLC to allow a food truck on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays during the summer months in the municipal parking lot.
Support. Motion been made and supported. Discussion.
And I say that for the reason is, as we talked about, temporary, these summer months, we've allowed other things that go on in there, and it's our lot, we have a little bit more control over what's going on in our lot, and like the farmer's market and other things we've done in our lot. And it's a little bit safer area for parking, for areas for the people to get to go out that will patronize it and then things of those.
Are you talking municipal lot? Because
Yes.
we have 3 of them. Which one are?
I didn't know we had to. I was thinking next to Maniachi's.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right, John brought that.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of them now.
Yeah. Okay. Is there support?
John did.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, John. Okay, any discussion?
I would agree with Rob on that also, but I'd also like to see if this works out for them, pursue a private lot and go through the planning commission and go through all those steps and move to a location that might suit them better than the municipal parking lot. I'm just not sure how much traffic they're gonna get there. It might be just a great start for them for now, but moving forward, they might find a better place somewhere else where a little more visibility or whatever that may be, so.
Yeah, we're already in the middle of June, and they still gotta get health departments here, so it's gonna be probably mid-late July before,
So
from what it sounds like anyway.
and so the season will be short anyways, and they can see how it works out.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I agree with the proposed motion. I'm just happy to get it going. I was just concerned I didn't want to take too big of a bite at first, but I'm definitely in favor of having it anywhere with the idea of just thinking about our other businesses. But I've seen in another small town that I'm familiar with where actually these become so popular that the food truck ends up they end up purchasing property or leasing property and actually open up a restaurant.
Yes.
Which is a good thing. So it's kind of a feeder, hopefully a feeder program. Literally.
Anybody else? The feeder program. Took me a minute, but I got it.
And I just concur with Councilor Mastrovich. Actually, that happened in Manistee recently, where a food truck just recently purchased a restaurant, and they're very successful now. So it's a great thing.
I'd just like to say that I think it's great. It's a family that is already involved in the community, and I think it's great to give them a chance to get out there and give it a try.
Yes.
Anybody else? I will tell you I'm going to vote against this. I don't know enough about food trucks. I don't know what the rules are. We have no rules in front of us. Are there times that they can be there? Open and close. How's the health department, covering this as far as what is needed from the municipality? Dealing with them for the last 38 years with the Good Old Days Festival, I know there's certain things that they, do for the more permanent settings that come into the festival and stay there for the weekend. I don't have any answers to a lot of questions that I have in my mind. I would much rather be much more informed at this point in time before I would want to move on this. Also, we had a couple of food trucks during a city event, and there was some very unhappy restaurant owners over that issue. I'd like to hear from them, how they feel about something on this order also. It's a big move, and I'm not taking into consideration who is applying or what their status is in the community, because I feel you're setting a precedent by passing this. If somebody else comes in that we have no idea who they are, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to give them the same treatment. You're going to allow food trucks to come in. How do we know what we can do as far as limiting who can come in? Is it a case-by-case basis, or is it not? What if they come in and they want to sell something across the street from one of our restaurants or next door to one of our restaurants? I don't have any of those answers. And so I like the idea. I don't think it's a product that is really, I don't believe there's any of our restaurants in town that probably sell what is going to be made here. And I remember at one time on a corner of 32 in Maine, there was some food sold there that was Mexican. It was, I can't remember what that was. That was a grocery store, I believe.
That's the one Children referred to.
It was yours?
No, that was not yours?
No.
Oh, okay.
But yes, sold similar products.
Yeah, similar products, and people loved it. So I don't want to say there's not a need here for this. We are a growing community. I think in a smaller community it's harder because there's only so many people. There's a limited amount of people. We've got quite a few restaurants in the community. and the whole thing about not paying taxes, where they, established businesses are paying property taxes, which is helping run the city. We haven't had that conversation. And we always have that kind of conversation before we go any new direction. So, like I said, I'm going to vote no on it, but I would like to meet as soon as possible. I would like to find out what other communities have done with it. There's got to be established ordinances on this. It doesn't take but a phone call to get those ordinances up and find out just exactly, what type of authority do we have over these units. So that's where I'm at. But it sounds like we have a consensus from council.
Well, can I just add one more thing to that, though, sir? Is nobody has come to us before that is hinges on getting approval, because she'll be able to take her truck then and go elsewhere, but she turned to us as her local community to get her started, because that's what she needs from the health department. So I guess
Well, she needs a site. What I was hearing was a site
an initial
was
site,
needed.
yes, but that doesn't prevent her from
going elsewhere
going elsewhere.
within the city of Richmond.
No, within other municipalities. Once she
Where
gets
you
that
getting-
approval, she can't get.
So the
as
city of
far as
Richmond can
my-
give an approval to somebody and they can go to other communities?
No,
I'm not following
that's
you,
not,
Jamie.
from the health department.
Uh-huh.
If she gets a place to get started from, she can move, is that how, did I
I think what she's saying
misunderstand?
is she hasn't submitted her application to the health department. For example, if she was gonna go down to the New Baltimore Farmers Market first, as long as she put that address on it, she could get her health department license for going down to New Baltimore's Farmers Market. She just didn't want to submit, from my understanding, I don't want to put words in your mouth, submit to the health department until she was set on a place. But that place didn't necessarily, getting it approved in Richmond isn't going to help her get it somewhere else. She could start somewhere else and then bring it back to Richmond.
Okay, so I
So it's
understand.
not-
But we are her local community, so she came to us first.
Absolutely, and she wanted to know, and she's been very kind and polite at the counter with us and asking, what direction do you, we would like to start in Richmond. Would you prefer us to start at a municipal lot or in a private lot before we submit to you? I didn't have a good answer for her because we've done it both ways on some of the other temporary businesses. And so, that was kind of my reluctance on, okay, let's go down this path because we've handled it different ways with different temporary businesses. And so that's where I want to kind of get from council. And certainly, there's probably a lot of food truck regulations and ordinances out there. Probably fewer for communities under 10,000 due to some of the concerns that the mayor raised, but they're probably out there. I'm not saying there's not. It's just, when you start to go to the smaller communities, there's
think
probably fewer.
That the applicant would have the right to go to private property without consent from the city?
In the past, when people have tried to do that, for example, the Bros Barbecue or the Kellyanne, we required them to do it as a site plan
As a site plan?
and
Okay.
took it through the planning commission.
And as you stated, this is basically a temporary business. Like Mike said, we have a long discussion and by the time this would happen to get bigger, we should have an ordinance or rules on the books. We just don't know, and understandably why, but.
Now, temporary-wise, would you set a date of end of September, October?
No, I'm not gonna support it. I don't have, in my mind, I don't have enough,
Right.
knowledge on this item to know exactly what we're doing.
Right.
So I would, again, like to have our ducks in a row, know what our rules are and what authority we have over something like this before I would approve it. But that's just me. That's just the way I operate, so.
And I guess I'm just throwing this out there, and I know the discussion there and appears support here.
I'm sorry,
Straight,
John, what?
sorry, I'm trying to think on my feet here and not doing a great job of it. Administration had talked about pushing it to the quarterly in July. That's the 22nd. The next meeting of this board is actually July 1st. So,
Yeah.
Some of the sample ordinances from other communities could certainly be prepared by July 1st. But again, that depends on comfort level of council.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yep. Well, I would hope, if this passes right now, the motion that's before us, then I would hope that we are planning on having some type of an ordinance that's going to cover food trucks and whatever else is coming, ahead of, in the future here, if we know of anything else that's going on, we should have an ordinance in place before it happens. Because it puts us I think it puts us in a rough spot. But anyhow, any other discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, since I asked the question of the applicant, that's why I wanted to have the third motion, at least for sure, is to bring about it at the next quarterly workshop. But then I wanted to use the time between that, which isn't going to be very long, as kind of a trial period just to see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're probably going to get some comments from local businesses as well, but at least we'll kind of vent that out a little bit. And that's why I was kind of leaning more towards private, just to kind of, then it's an extra effort. It's not using city property, and they would have to work with another local business to do it. But either way, since it looked like people were in favor of having the food truck, which I was, I can support either of, actually I could support all three motions, but
Okay.
I'll support the one that's on the table.
Anything else? Any other audience comments on this item? Back to the table. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, one nay. Motion does pass. Michael, did you want to make a motion?
Yes.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to direct administration to place this issue on the next quarterly workshop roundtable meeting, which is in July, on July 22nd.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion? I totally agree on this one. Any other comments from the audience? Being not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Okay, our final item for consideration is approval of the mutual detachment and annexation forbearance agreement. Mr. City Manager?
council is scheduled to consider adopting the mutual detachment and annexation forbearance agreement between the city of Richmond and Lenox Township. The city's Muttonville agreement with Lenox Township expired September 2008. Prior to 1998, the area commonly known as Muttonville was a part of Lenox Township. In 1998, the city and township entered into the original 10-year agreement that called for a fixed annual payment from the city to the township for these annexed properties. In 1998, the city of Richmond and Lenox Township entered into a new 20-year agreement that called for the sharing of 3.6 mills back to Lenox Township from the city, but then also provided protections from annexation and detachment to both parties. The draft that's before you tonight is the culmination of the efforts of the mayor and I meeting with Steve Mann from Miller Canfield, who represented the city, as well as some discussions we've had at previous meetings with council, and then two negotiation sessions with Lenox Township and their attorneys, and some meetings that I had with the supervisor. And essentially the outcome is another 20-year extension to the annexation, or the Muttonville agreement from 1998. So that would again be for 3.6 mills and for a 20-year period.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the mutual detachment and annexation forbearance agreement between the city of Richmond and Lenox Township, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign on behalf of the city.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any discussion on this?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the city manager and the mayor, especially for all the work put into it. It's been a long time, a lot of work back and forth, and very happy to see it done for the next 20 years, and appreciate all the work.
Thank you. Anything else? Any audience comments on this item? Back to the table. Thank Lenox Township for working with us again. And I believe it was unanimous
Yes.
by the township elected officials. Glad to see that we can work together on this agreement. If there's nothing else, All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Miscellaneous matters from the city manager, sir.
I just want to thank the rec department, police, fire, and DPW for working with Pyro Joe's to put on the fireworks demonstration and display that was in the park on Saturday. It went off in spite of the bad weather that we had this weekend, and quite a few people showed up, even with the kind of forecast. Also, in front of you tonight, you'll find envelopes with your packet for the July 1st joint meeting of the City Council and Rec Board. Just wanted to get that to you so you had plenty of time to look at the prioritized project list, goals and objectives, and the explanation of the high priority items and the 3 sections of the master plan we'll be talking about after that meeting, or after our July 1st meeting at the joint meeting.
Thank you. Moving on to council comments. Dennis?
Oh, just wanted to commend the administration on the job they did, and I'm sure everybody else agrees, and I'll just be the first one to say it.
Very good. Rob?
No.
John?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Emily?
All set, thank you.
Jamie?
All set.
Michael?
I concur.
Very good. Let me, we have a few things here, public announcements. Again, Friday night swims. We have another one on June 21st, and those run from 7 to 10 p.m. at our pool. There'll also be another one on July 12th and August 16th. There is a blood drive by the Richmond Lennox EMS on Wednesday, July 3rd, from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night at the Lennox Township offices. That's a new location. So they're looking for blood. There's quite a shortage from what I've read. The Richmond Area Historical Society is going to have their first annual Heritage Festival, and that is going to be held on June 29th and 30th from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock daily, rain or shine. And there's a number of things that they will be doing during those 2 days: petting farm, historic demonstrations, shingle mill, horse and buggy rides, log sawing, a lot of their museum quality tractors, and tours of all their log cabin in the school and in the depot museum. There's a new display in the museum also for people to see. And also, again, Richmond Police Officers Association's annual raffle for a 2019 Polaris four-wheeler. Tickets are on sale. There's only 1,000 being sold. They're $10 a piece, and you can come to the police department here and or call 727-4000 to get your ticket. Okay. Go to the city's calendar here. Today being the 17th. TIFA meeting on the 26th at 7 o'clock here at City Hall. The next regular city council meeting will be held on July 1st. It'll be noted that our meetings are going to go from 7 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the months of July and August. And there will be a joint meeting of the council and the Parks and Rec Department following the regular city council meeting. I question on July 2nd, is there also going to be there's going to be a regular city, or city recreation board meeting. And then July 4th, which falls on a Thursday this year, all buildings will be closed other than our police department on July 4th, 5th, and 6th, and reopen on the 8th. Okay. Is there anything else that we need to add to this?
Just one, I forgot to lay the flyer out there. The first summer concert is this Thursday, the 20th at 7 p.m. in the pavilion at BB Park. It's the brass band sponsored by Senior Helpers. So if you're familiar with the concerts last year, the same place, same location, same time. And the first one is this Thursday at the 20th.
Very good. Hope for good weather for him. Okay, we move on. There is no closed session. Is there any other business of the city council this evening? Being not, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. There's no discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion does pass. Thanks for being with us.